Hello everyone, good day to you wherever you're watching from. My name is Oluwaseyi Fadari. Welcome to another series of our training on Bofad Invest Forex Trading Academy. So today we'll be going through one of our reports that I call the scrapping report. So the scrapping report is a template that involves many ideas, many logics, and many inputs that is able to give us an output of the information that we want. So today we'll be going through the scrapping report to identify how the template works, how information is inputted in the template, and how the template is able to give us a decision over time. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you and we'll be able to take it from there. This also might take some time, like about 3 lessons, but let's see how far we can be able to go today. Okay. So the first thing in the scrapping report is what I call the daily high-low data. Okay. Okay. So you can see this report, it has daily datas of everyday information on these reports. So for example, let's look at, okay, so it has been reformatted. Okay. So this is just few actually. So this is for just the past 1 week. Okay. So, but in most cases, the data crosses across to this point. So for example, let me see if I can get the data for let me see if I can get data for December out. Okay. So let's look at December data. You'll be able to see how long it is. Okay. So we are looking at December 2025. Okay, so we're talking about the scrapping report. So let's look at the scrapping report for December. So you can see here for December, this daily ILO. So you can see we have a lot of hectic of data here. Okay. So this is how the report looks like under the daily data, ILO data. Okay, so it includes the everyday high and lowest prices according to the report every day. Okay, so once that is completed, there are some decision trees that comes across on this side of the template. So there's a lot of information here on this report alone. So like I told you, I'm going to divide it into a series of training so that you'll be able to understand and follow up on the information. So here is the first input that we have, column AH. You can see here it has a decision tree for the market. So sometimes it might, like for example, if you look at oil here, it has buy and sell. Okay, so sometimes some of them we just have one direction, and sometimes some of them we have both direction. But even when they are going to have both directions, they usually have one direction first. Okay, so note that very well. So even when they have both direction, in most cases they have one direction first. So the ability to identify the first direction and know when the market is changing direction is very, very key to the success of using these templates. Okay. So, for example, now this AUDJPY is the first product it's telling us to buy. So how do we know when best to buy? Okay. So you can see here, we have this point and this point. So let me expand it because I know sometimes watching may be difficult to see easily like that. Okay. So what I do is, so once we have a decision here, decision is going to come across the data in this place and this place for the buy. And if it's the sell, it's going to come from the data from this place and this place. Okay. So now, in most cases, we usually interweave it indirectly. So depending on, so when we are looking at, for example, this is a buy, okay, what is the best time to buy? According to this report, we are going to look at 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are going to look at, take the two lowest prices among the four information there. So in this example, we have 100.3 and 101.5. So those positions are the best two prices to take a buy decision. Okay. And if it's telling us the sell, we are going to look at the highest two prices from the four ranges. Okay. So if this decision was meant to be a sell, then we'll be looking at 104.4 and 103.7. Okay. But because it's a buy, we are looking at 100.3 and 101.5. So those are the best time to buy. And then the reverse case if we are to sell. So for example, here you have here Euro AUD, for example, is giving us a sell decision. So what is the best time to sell? We are going to look at the two highest prices from these four information. So we have 1.798, we have 1.748, we have 1.756, and we have 1.781. So according to this rule, the best prices to sell is 1.798, which is the highest, and 1.781, which is the next highest. Okay, so that is the best prices, the best position to sell. It doesn't mean that we cannot sell below. We can sell below as much, even up to 1.756. But those sales between that range will give us the best results. Okay, look at this also again, Euro USD. What is the Euro GBP rather? What is giving us a sell decision? So like I said, we are going to look at the four prices on this template and decide on the two highest. So here, the two highest is 0.884 and 0.879. Okay, so any price within that range is good for a sell, but we can even still sell up to 0.875. It's still fine. Okay, but 0.884 and 0.879 is the best time and the best positions to sell. If you look at Euro JPY here, it's giving us a buy decision. What are the two best positions to buy? So we are going to look at the two lowest prices of the two. So that will be, if you look at it, we have 2 points here, 184.8, 179.7, and we have here 180.9 and 182.5. So according to the rule, the two best prices to buy here is 179.7 and 180.9. So once you're able to buy within that range, then it gives us more opportunity. But anyhow, we can also still buy up till 182.5. Okay, but one is buy at 179.7 to 180.9 will give us more profit than a buy above up than more than a buy before 182.5. Okay, so that is how this system works. So it's able to give us insight into the best range to take our decisions as quickly as possible. Okay, so like for example, now look at here, we have gold is giving us a buy decision. And just like the rule I said earlier, you can see 4375, 4022, 4102, 4309. So the best price to buy is 4022 and 4102. Okay, for a buy decision. Can you see that? So, wow. And so if you had bought to that, even despite the fact that it's still giving us a 4309, but would have made a lot of profit from 4102, even before it gets to 4309. Okay, so that is how this column HHLL and LHHL works. That is how it works. Okay. So that's how we are able to get information to know the best prices to take these decisions. Okay. Fine. So another one input that gives us a good idea is on this column, which is AO. So here also you have the AVH and AVL. Okay. So these are the two prices for both. So what are we looking at in these prices? So unlike the previous one, I told you that the best time to buy is 100.3 and 101.5. Okay. But what this does is that it tells us the worst case scenario, okay, or the best opportunity as well. So especially when the market is moving from one side to another. Okay. So if you look at these two prices I said before, 100.3 and 101.5, they are below these prices. And I remember I told you earlier that these two prices gives us the best time to buy based on this range. Okay. So also this information here, out of the two prices, the lowest price is 101.8. So it means that once the market comes above 101.8, then the market is good to buy, which is also in line with what I mentioned earlier. Okay, so once the market goes above 101.8, according to this rule, then it's good to buy. If this was meant to be a sell, then it means that when the market is coming down below 102.788, then it's a good time to sell. And by that time, like I said, our high would be 104.4 and 103.7. Okay, which is also makes it that even before it gets to 102.788, we would have made in we would have made a sell already and be in profit at that point in time. Okay. So same thing here for Euro AUD. Like I told you, this is a sell market. So if you look at this is the two information that we have 1.77779 and 1.76658. So what it means is that once the market comes below 1.77779, then the market is a sell market. Okay. And if it goes above it, then it becomes a buy market. Okay. And if this was a buy, then it means that if the market goes above 1.76658, then it becomes a buy. Can you see that? So that's how that works. So for example, let's look lastly at gold. So look at gold here. We have 4236.42 and 4168.71. So like we mentioned earlier, gold is good to buy at 4022 and 4102. But this also gives us additional information about the gold buy. So once the market goes above 4168.71, then it's good to buy for the long term. Okay. So those are the key three positions that gives us information about the entry point. So anything above 4.168, from 4.168 downwards, is a very good opportunity for us to buy according to this strategy. Okay, so that's how this template has been able to define and identify the decision and the information that we need to take at the correct time. Okay, so that's the second logic that helps us to identify the entry point and the decision. Okay, the third is also in line with this. Here you can see some decisions here. We have buy, we have no action, we have sell. So this also gives us information about decisions for the market based on the current price. Okay. So that's that. So another opportunity is on this line, you can see here, we have decisions, okay? So it's giving us whether buy. So the overall decision is at the bottom here. So here we have, once you have buy, we have buy at the bottom. Buy, we have buy. Sell, we have sell. Buy, we have buy. But in this instance, you can see here, we have sell and buy. So because we have sell and buy, we don't have any decision at the bottom. So we are only going to have a decision at the bottom when both sides are equal. Okay. So and what is this telling us? So this is telling us that once we have a buy, then it means that the market should start buying at least as much as possible from 101.8, which is the average low. or which is the lower of these two prices. Okay. And if it's telling us a sell, then it means that it's good to enter the market at a sell from the higher of these two prices. So that is all that this is telling us to do. Okay. And this also relates to a decision here. This is combining this report with an earlier report that is set up at the beginning of the period. So this is the first initial projection, and this is the current projection. Okay. So anytime these two projections are the same, it comes up here as the same information, and it gives us a final decision at the bottom of it. Okay. So when we don't have a final decision of a buy in this instance or a sell in this color, then it means that they don't tally. So you can see here we have buy, we have buy, we have buy, we have buy. So when we have empty spaces like this, then it means that there's no decision. And we have sell here, it means that they are both in line with a sell decision. Okay, so that is how this is able to give us a better information about the projection and the direction of the market. So with this information in hand, it will be able to help us and guide us effectively on the movement of the market and the prices as well, and what actions we need to take. Okay, so that is how we'll be able to do the first stanza of this training. So when we come back in the next section, we are going to continue with the training on the scrapping report template. Okay, so thank you very much for your time and for the opportunity given unto me to lecture you and introduce you using my scrapping report as a strategy for our forex trading activities. Okay, so in the next section that will be coming up, we'll be discussing on continuing with our first lecture that also gives us more information and more enlightenment on what activities that we need to do. Thank you very much. I remain yours and only Oluwase Fadari. Have a great time. If you want to reach us, you can reach us at fadinvest@yahoo.ie, fadinvest, FADINVEST @yahoo.ie. Cheers and have a great year 2026. Bye.